at 440 hertz, we are playing music aligned to a frequency meant to subtly antagonize that, to my understanding, was instituted by Nazis early in the 20th century. It's good to be aware that we might unalter an alteration done to our mainframe meant to alienate us from us. Is it 432? Is that where the A, where we found it before we confounded it? What is the Justice League of America in reality? If anything means anything, then what are we doing here? And among the stories that we retell in action and otherwise, what are we going to mint out of everything that's been done right now to change humanity for the better, so that leaders lead league, that there are people who rise to the prominence of simply being able to offer their gifts, and they are super erogatory individuals and aims. They are maybe humble, they are maybe massive, but whatever gift is being given is accessing or being given with abundance. What are we here for? The addiction to punishment only perpetuates the matrix of white supremacist patriarchal terrorism. What does it mean right now to be league for equality, for truth, justice, and the American way for all? What does it mean? Who shows up? How are we known? What is it? What does the Justice League of America bring? What does the actual Justice League of America bring? The super erogatory human beings have things to bring, and that is part of divergence that is targeted. People who are here to bring positive, good things are being targeted. If they're in government, they're being targeted. If they are outside of government, the supererogatory is being targeted. The humane and the common sense and just is being targeted. You don't stop funds meant to repair sewage damage to people's water or other chronic issues unless you are an enemy of the people suffering that. We are sustaining cuts that happen in battle. We are sustaining amputations that happen in war. We are sustaining deaths that happen under terrorist attack, under siege. What do we stand for? It is said all of us are born equal. It was written down. It was written down that we have inalienable rights: life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And the basic trunk and branches of the Constitution that are under attack in various ways disable these inalienable rights. The people who do not want to misuse language like evil are not supposed to hide behind that as a way to escape being up to the moment, to see the falsehood speaking directly to you with its damage of deception and violence. Someone who can make you laugh and charm you while they're refusing to return someone from your neighborhood that they renditioned to establish the right to rendition anyone is not your compatriot, is not serving you, is not of service to the Constitution or the nation that they pledged service to. What exactly is wrong with being awake? What is wrong with being woke except that that is the scapegoat chosen by bigots to be tarred and feathered? What is woke but Christ's mission for humanity to love our neighbors as we love ourselves? What is wrong with a virtue signal? The only thing wrong with a virtue signal are the liars. The only thing wrong with a virtue signal itself is if you arrive at the source of the signal and find it to be false. That's the only thing wrong with a virtue signal. We are occupied by racist bigots allegiant to the Ku Klux Klan. And working with Vladimir Putin, M is dismembering us. And while spouting the fog of hokum that spells mass murder, by claiming that others, that his scapegoated targets are indeed committing such things. By breathing falsehood, by breathing pure, rancid Nazi scapegoating, by normalizing Ku Klux Klan terrorism with mindless, fact-free lynch mob speak, Stephen Miller is attacking checks and balances and attacking human beings. He is attacking everything. We are occupied by a resurgent confederacy that needs to be dispatched. It is cancer. People making a cry for help of advocating for and coercing a nation through lies and violence to embrace genocide. That's not the project of a democratic nation. We are and have been under siege, escalating siege to enslave and to remove citizenship from everyone except for white men. It is abominable crime, aided by the largest theft of wealth, the largest redistribution of wealth from the poor and lower middle class to the wealthy ever. The crowd of evil actors, making us wonder if they are more allegiant to bigotry or to greed. Until we realize it's one thing. We're dealing with criminals. We're dealing with saboteurs. We're dealing with people who would make you doubt anything that asks us to live with virtue. Not to one violent ascribed philosophy in what it stamps to be virtue, but with humanity and empathy and intersectionality that fosters diversity, equity, and inclusion and access. Because any intelligent adult, any intelligent child can suss and articulate DEI is humanity. DEI is humanity. Anyone spitting DEI with venom in their mouth is infected with deadly intolerance or carrying a poison with such lack of awareness, they endanger themselves and others. DEI equals humanity. People like the Nazi Stephen Miller, who has had on his Twixter profile for years the phrase demolish DEI, is a Nazi. He is a dangerous child from parent separating murderer. He is a bad human being. We're dealing with Nazi patriarchal terrorists who have occupied power. They're committing crimes against humanity right now, and under a fog of lies to make people who want to believe racist lies have some sucker to suck on. Stephen Miller promotes a fog of bullshit, a fog of lies that hateful, criminal bigots want to hear. But they are lies. He is a Nazi scapegoating murderer. Observe his language. Observe how he responds. He uses the language of lynch mobs. He uses a language that can be traced back to, I did it in the name of God, so all of the collateral damage is holy, and kiss my bloody palms. It is the language of crusades. It is the language of Hitler. It is the language of monsters. He is a Nazi monster. And this is the Deputy Chief of Staff for the White House and Advisor on Homeland Security. This is the man who wants us to disregard and demonize universal ideas of humanity and solidarity, like the embrace of equity and how we foster inclusion. of our diversity. Such people should not be anywhere near power. People like Stephen Miller should not be allowed power because they are murderers. He has targeted human beings for sterilization, for rape, for infection with COVID. Stephen Miller is a murderer. Stephen Miller is M. He is known on Earth as M. Die Mörder, because Stephen Miller is the murderer. Just ask Peter Thiel. Just ask Curtis Yarvin. Just ask Kevin Roberts. Just ask Tucker Carlson. Just ask the actual racist replacement happening, the brown replacement happening under the cover of 100% bullshit falsehoods about white genocide in South Africa. We're dealing with a Nazi occupation of the White House. Arrest Stephen Miller. Arrest Stephen Miller for treason, arrest Stephen Miller for sowing the destruction of checks and balances that register democracy moot. Arrest Stephen Miller for terrorizing America with the rug pull of habeas corpus. Arrest Stephen Miller for enacting a campaign of shit flooding everything, everywhere, with attack. We are experiencing a campaign of overwhelm that amounts to war. It is definitely thought of as war by the people pulling the trigger on what they're firing. And we, the United States of America, are taking heavy damage. And if you make a list of the damage, I imagine Vladimir Putin would cheer every impact. I imagine Vladimir Putin has asked for these impacts. Who wants America to dismantle education and only give some rich children the chance to be doctors and lawyers? Who wants to see America's scientific acumen and acuity betrayed? Who wants to see NASA be a shadow of what it was or could be? Who wants to see squandered geniuses in America? Not anyone loyal to this country. Not anyone loyal to this country. Certainly not anyone loyal without criminal intent. We're dealing with a lynch mob. MAGA is just a lynch mob. It is the Confederacy here to normalize their terrorism again. We should not take confidence as a sign of just will, of just cause, or of good faith. Confidence should instead inform us of mens rea. And there are some things that are damned, that are jettisoned from the possibility of what we consider acceptable. Stephen Miller is neck deep in it. This administration is neck deep in things, any one of which should throw them from power entirely. It would not matter what side of anything a person is on. It doesn't matter whether Jeffrey Dahmer was conservative or on the left. It mattered to stop Jeffrey Dahmer. Helping Jeffrey Dahmer was stopping Jeffrey Dahmer and creating boundaries. Helping Stephen Miller is an entire end to enabling Stephen Miller. Helping Stephen Miller is arrest and boundaries of steel that prevent him from hurting himself or anyone else. Safe boundaries deliver safety. And we are dealing with a virulent racist, so obsessed with delivering Nazi abomination upon us, so obsessed with relieving white people from ever being spoken to by anyone else with any sense of authority, so obsessed with his Nazi hatred of anyone who doesn't look like him. That he has come this far. And been a willing and wanting and even summoning partner to the falsehood. Arrest Stephen Miller for crimes against humanity, for commanding ICE to rip people off the street for being brown, with the intent of throwing them into knife pits that they will likely not emerge from, across a border. It's an attack. It's an attack that is strangely reminiscent of the North Atlantic slave trade. To show up in someone's life at an appointment, at their place of employment, when they're picking up their child from school, and to kidnap them, steal their belongings, their home, their family, and to rip them from their life and put them into turmoil. That's what Manifest Destiny did before. That's Stephen Miller taking out the weapon he says wasn't in his back pocket for the last 250 years. We're dealing with people who are resurrecting the racist, bigoted, criminal Confederacy. They are declared demonstrable enemies of the United States. If their dismantling of our Constitution, not just through the courts, but through committing crimes against our Constitution and against human beings protected by the Constitution, and not showing retreat, but in fact that this has been baiting. They are picking a fight with our willingness to stand up for the Constitution. They are picking a fight with our willingness to defend life and freedom. Stephen Miller has picked a fight with America. He has picked a fight inspired by the same malicious contempt for humanity that Donald Trump shows. Stephen Miller picks a fight with our expectation of human decency, rule of law, and the most basic tenets of what we are and what we mean. Equality, fairness, rule of law, actual merit. Actual merit wouldn't be erasing most of the most meritorious and extraordinary achievements in American history. It certainly wouldn't be easily traceable back to how all of these things being erased were innovations and inventions and records and glass ceilings broken by the achievements of people that Stephen Miller would label DEI. He is an abominable Nazi liar. He is trying to improve upon the horrific totals of Goebbels and Hitler. Arrest Stephen Miller. Arrest M. Arrest people arguing for the right to do damage to virtue, damage to humanity. Arrest Stephen Miller, who is doing the damage he scapegoats others would do. Arrest this lynch-mobbing, violent, white terrorist, Stephen Miller. Arrest him. Arrest him now. Arrest this person sowing a campaign of illegal orders meant to destabilize and destroy American democracy. Arrest Stephen Miller. Arrest Stephen Miller. This is the virtue signal. This is the warm, wise wing wool. And be on the lookout, Scoop Troop. The lookout, Scoop Troop, for Darvo. Denial, an attack to reverse victim and offender. DARVO. Donald Trump and Stephen Miller will use DARVO. Denial, attack, to reverse victim and offender. DARVO. Make your own handy-dandy card to pull up when you are discussing anything, or listening to, or even watching silent footage of the falsehood, or anyone you think may be employing the mechanisms of the falsehood, like DARVO. It's helpful to remember because people who are good at lying are good at appearing friendly and trustworthy and vulnerable and caring and honest when they are lying. They're good at appearing honest when they're lying. They're good at never being detected until they want to be. So keep the DARVO card handy, mentally or otherwise, to access it when needed, just as a reference. You may be talking to someone or listening to someone employing denial and attack to reverse victim and offender. What is league? What would people loyal to the United States, seeing attacks upon the United States, do if the administration were conducting seditious acts of sabotage, but somehow without being attributed to really be the source of any kind of wartime attack? How much damage could be done to a nation that was being gaslit about civil war already being underway? So gaslit and internalized that even people on the left were still referring to infighting as civil war. Like that's not a massive betrayal of language at a moment when civil war could be a reality. Like, how cruel, tone-deaf, and belligerent do you have to be to the public good and peace to continue to use a term like civil war when you're not talking about civil war? In 2025, it's totally abominable. I think virtue would stand for speaking actually plainly and being accountable to disassemble and perturb and disembowel the culture of clickbait. Both human intelligence and artificial intelligence are being coaxed to get better at lying. Is it because we think that it's not possible to get better at telling the truth? In myriad ways? Do we think that we can't improve upon how we tell the truth? Curiosity grade relay that can deliver the freight. The 6, 7, 8, 9, 9, 9. I deflate imagination aims. Now renovate, now renovate, now renovate today. And awake, awaken in your way. Remain the nature your creature would. Now ape, make the goal. Escape imagination, ape imagination, aim. Now shape the day is under your feet. Mind may be aimed to display the nature your nature would create. Your today step that way, 1 foot again. Step, yes, step, keep walking. Liberty has you, friend. If you have liberty and can foster it universally, compatriate, emancipate, come play today because you may be prey if you cannot play. If you be not play, you may be prey today. If you are not game to play, you may be game another way. Radio science, brain, innate relays. Thus, calling new colossal ideas. We are eponymous. We are the obvious. We are the habit of thought and experience across time and space. We are memory of thought. We are memory of what we have found and found not. Imagination aims. From a field love exclaims, radio science brain remains. Emancipate and phrase the ache, make it say, and maybe we can help, or you are the help will feed that seeds bleed into being something we need. Imagine this contains it. Today, some say, might be the day. Play could be the game. If you do not have a game, play or would make another kind of essay. Choose the game, choose the game of play. When asked what game, not thermonuclear war or chess or checkers or pitfall or any trail you would explore, take aim from your mainframe, exclaim, make aim, make a say. You are a particle of light and play. So resonate your play and be the way that the game can innovate. Be the game changer, may the game always be play. Yes, today, yes, and mind stand, be yes, and command or commandless. Simon wouldn't say us, but we'd say it thus on our omnibus call a new colossus. What was that? That was a pass-through radio science brain. It's different every time. It's an exploration through a field of ideas. And today it is part of the virtue signal. Be not prey, be play. And if you don't have a game, let the game itself be play. So that if someone asks, well, then what is another way? You're already the name of the game. You're already how kindness comes. Because kind already done came. Be play.